Chichi Monde, welcome to Business Indaba.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. We're excited.
I'm excited too. You guys are looking lovely.
Thank you.
I had to dollar for TV.
It's so extra.
So you guys have an event later on, so I guess we have a little bit of time to discuss things.
Yeah, we do. We have a planned event today. So typically from March until the end of the year, we start getting crazy busy. So we need to have this chat real quick.
She talks the most. So even though she's saying real quick, like what should happen?
I'll try
and cut you guys down.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So basically, I just wanted to find out who you are, where you're from, when you were born, and how you rolled into PR media.
Wow, that seems like such a long story.
But we have to cut it short. Cut it short. So we're sisters.
Yes.
If anybody follows PR Girl Media, you know that. Sometimes people say we look like twins, but really,
I'm not mad at that. You know what? Sometimes I just say yes. Are you twins? Yes. End of story. The minute you say no,
then you have so much to explain.
Well, you look like twins. I agree with that.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Okay, we're twins. For this interview, we'll be twins. So we started PR Girl about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We're talking 3 years, May 2019. And the idea behind it really was for us to merge our passions. I had work experience and I had studied public relations, and she had a wide array of business experience from her banking days, and also worked in events in Australia. So the both of us pretty much jumped the gun, left the other half, and come from a family of 4. So 2 boys and 2 girls.
Split right down the middle.
Parents were smart. And so the boys stayed in Australia, and we came over to Zambia and we started PR Girl as just something that honestly we kind of just felt would definitely work, because we're both passionate about what PR Girl does, which is public relations and event management, and specifically specializing in lifestyle PR and social networking, and pretty much making corporate brands a little bit more social through events.
Right.
3 years down the line, then I think we're still liking it, right?
Yeah, we're still liking it. It's fun, lots of challenges, but it's always easier when you've got a business partner that you trust and you're related to. Believe it or not. It's a lot of growing, and it's a lot of ups and downs, but a lot of ups even in the downs coming out.
Like you learn so much, because I think one thing that we've discovered about entrepreneurship and venturing into something that is very different on an African market, and we did struggle in the beginning with the event concepts that we were coming up with, because they were automatically deemed foreign and elitist and pretentious and un-Zambian and uncultured. So it's a challenge growing into this space where you seem to be pushing an international faced brand to a local market, because we still want to promote Zambia and put Zambia on the map, but through international platforms. But we're growing. We've met a lot of people through our work, a lot of other PR professionals and event companies in the space, and it's actually quite exciting, because we noticed that our story is the same with other entrepreneurs in Africa. So it's like every time we meet, we're like, oh my goodness, you too?
Very refreshing.
And it's very refreshing, and it's very inspiring and encouraging. So there's a lot that we want to do. And I think our idea is to merge African countries into this force to just rebrand Africa and change the narrative that people in Africa don't like luxury, or don't have money, or aren't exposed to certain things. Like, we know who Beyonce is.
Yeah.
We do. So,
or, you have the video when the small kid is playing in the mud and there's a fly in the face.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So we're in this force to try and change that narrative, and to try and recruit a lot more Africans that are passionate about rebranding Africa and showing, the many luxuries that we have, and not just in money and material things, but also in culture and in how connected we are and how our stories are the same.
Right.
So yeah.
So ladies, backtracking a little bit, what was it like starting the company? You know, there's so much going on here. You're both indigenous Zambians, you're women. How would people react to you? Would they take you serious?
You know what? I think in the business that we're in, that's extremely challenging because if you look at the Zambian culture in terms of, you know, business or just social culture, the woman is perceived as, you know, stay home, look after the kids, bear kids, get married. So when you're too young, extremely driven, pretty, you know, you always kind of feel that you have to prove that you have a brain and that you're serious and that you can be taken seriously. And that's a constant struggle because our industry is very male dominated. But I would like to believe that we soldier through it. You know, I think it's about being smart. It's about being strategic. It's about knowing what you want. And once you've got that on lock, then definitely you can take on a challenge even, you know, as big as that.
Nice.
And I think also it's playing on the advantage. I mean, the fact of like about authenticity, you're a woman. And if you're a woman in business, nothing can change the fact that you're a woman. So the feminine influence in the work that we do, you'll notice that a lot of the events that we do, we add a feminine touch to it and what we call femvetizing, which is pretty much targeting the women in the market because the theology, or the analogy behind that is that if you get the women, you essentially get the men. And it's been based on who we are, the fact that we're women, the fact that luxury, pretty, nice things and flowers and all of these things is something that the average man is not going to go after. But when we go after it, everybody's attracted to it. So it's accepting actually the one thing that people think is your weakness and capitalizing on it and making it even a lot more grand. Because we pay a little more attention to detail. It's just feminine instinct. It's just being a woman and knowing exactly what to do, what color patterns to go with. And I think it's setting back and saying, okay, fine, while the environment may judge us for being women and liking things and liking luxury and insisting too much on, you know, feminine-centered perspectives in the comms and in the events that we do, but using that not in a disadvantage, but like as actually like our core objective and the way that we present our brand. And we're very unapologetic about the fact that we're a feminine brand.
Is that something you guys thought was missing in the market when you first started? Like, wait a minute, there's no feminine touch added to this to make it more sexy?
Definitely.
But then on the other side, not completely.
Okay.
I don't think, well, personally, I didn't really look at it that way. Like, you know, like she mentioned earlier, I think our business is very personality driven. For those people that know us, they'll literally look at the PR Go brand and see the combination of me and Chichi's characters and personalities. Yeah. So it wasn't so much about, oh, there's a lack of feminine businesses or, you know, events or PR that's you know, female driven. You know, from my perspective, I don't think so. I think it was just the general product of lifestyle PR and luxury events, you know, with the global perspective. That was lacking in the market. Yeah. And that's where I want to believe we get it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, I'll say yes, because like I said, we're very different. But I'll say yes because if you look at like the 4 main events that we have Champagne Picnic, we have Lusaka July, we have Oktoberfest Lusaka, and we have Penthouse Party. And 3 out of the 4 are fashion-driven events. The stereotype that only women in Africa care about fashion, we are challenging that. Because you see men showing up at our events, dressed fashionably. It's one time in 3-4 months that they get to go out and wear expensive clothes and designer clothes. And they're looking forward to somebody asking them, who are you wearing? It's been so encouraging to talk to fashion designers and they say, we make so much money off your events because now people care about how they look when they come to your events. It's the fashion designers, it's the makeup artists, it's the florists, and it's all of these people that are in lifestyle beauty and fashion industry. And yes, because traditionally in the African context, only women should care about that. And now we're getting both genders to care about that. So it's challenging the norms,
Right.
and it's refreshing, because even if we're doing things a way that considerably a lot of Africans would perceive to be feminine, it's attractive to men as well. And it's challenging the status quo,
Right.
and bringing out the fact that African fashion is alive, that luxury in Africa is present, and that certain things should not be deemed for women and only for women. So I think it's something that maybe subconsciously we do, and we've had to realize that this is actually what we are doing, but without actually it being the objective of your core business. I mean, we just like to have fun.
In a nutshell.
So how do you go about planning such an event? You just mentioned you have 4 events in a year that you organize yourselves. I assume it takes about, 2-3 months to get that set up?
Yeah.
Do you work together with these designers or choreographers? Or how do you go about it?
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
I'll give you an example. Lusaka July, which is I believe is our biggest event, only because it's so multifaceted. It's highly luxurious. It's we call it the beast.
It's like
And we
it's
call
like
it the
throwing
beast.
a luxury wedding for an unknown guest, unknown bride
yes.
and groom. So you've
Yeah,
never met
yeah.
the groom, you've never met the bride, but yet you have to deliver something luxurious
To their
to their expectations. It feels like that because it's an event that is commercial but has to feel like you're in someone's garden.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we can never have too big a crowd, but we have to be commercial enough to make a profit. And we have to be corporate enough to bring in the corporates. And we have to be
Fun enough to bring in
Fun
the
enough to
consumer,
bring
the
in the
everyday
consumer.
consumer.
So it's very multifaceted. It's the polo, it's the fashion, it's the lifestyle, it's the food, it's the drinks, and you can't miss one. It's the celebrity. Because I think in the last 2 years, it's become the most sought after red carpet. Like your Lusaka July red carpet is where you want to be photographed, if you are anything in the society, really. So that's a lot of pressure on us.
Extremely.
So you do interact with fashion designers to make sure this is a big event, or how do you go
Yeah,
about
of course, because we've got fashion showcases. I think last year, for example, we had about 15 showcases from different designers, not only from Zambia. I think, Tanzania, Namibia, South Africa, Kenya. So it's really massive because you see, we're targeting pretty much the whole of Africa. We want that attention, because like she said earlier, it's about changing the narrative of, you know what? Yes, Africa has its downsides. Yes, we do have poor people. Yes, we do have starving children, which is extremely sad. However, we have a luxurious side to Africa. People in Africa do have money and they do enjoy having a good time and, spending their money after working hard.
Yeah.
So it's a huge challenge. Lusaka July is a huge challenge, but I want to believe that we try our absolute best to get it right every year, and we keep learning and we keep getting better. And I think there's more to come, and it's extremely exciting.
Nice. Is there also a quarterly magazine that comes out along these events or around these events? Was that something you guys are not thinking of?
You know what? We would love to, but we usually call on other magazines or media platforms. So we usually get TV, radio, print to come in. The media love it. They love it. They love to showcase a different side of Africa that media never gets.
Right.
You see, even locally, the papers are infiltrated with just politics news. The mayor did this, the president's done this, somebody complaining about the economy. So entertainment and showcasing a positive story, and in a way that's the luxury is coming in from the consumers and not from political head.
Right.
It's an unusual story, but we've noticed in the last couple of years that the media actually love this story. So we've never had any issue with publicity in terms of local. I mean, the last Lusaka July, the last Champagne Picnic, we got media from South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Botswana, in the region. And the longer we do it, the more we do it, the more interest we see across Africa. And like we said earlier, when we travel and we speak to other people that are in this industry, in other markets, we realize that our stories are the same.
Right.
Our objectives are extremely similar.
Could you maybe give an example as to what stories?
I mean, I'll give you an example. We were in Namibia for Vintage Fashion Week, and we met up with, Delish, who was in Big Brother South Africa a couple of years ago, and we met up with some of their fashion designers like Melissa Porton. We had a photo shoot with Melissa Porton, which was amazing. And you start to learn that every single person who's in the arts and creative industry in Africa is trying to put out a messaging about Africa that unfortunately the international media doesn't put out. It's international quality fashion, international quality talent, and they're trying to look for a platform that can push them there. It's not just about the world seeing them. It's about Africans being proud of African talent and African talent being portrayed out to the world. So a lot of the time when we meet up, and we were just in Senegal, we see how it's such a raw market.
Mm.
People are so creative that they haven't even figured out the commercial side of it. Because we are in a market that's been commercial for the last 10 years.
Right.
So commercial comes first before the talent. People tell you, are you sellable before they put your record out? But this is a market where you put your record out and then you become commercial. So you start to learn like different markets and how they celebrate their skills and their talent and their nature and their beauty and their fashion. And then you realize like, okay, I think this is a movement. This needs to be something that we can collaborate across Africa as Africans and push. So even with our little efforts nationally or regionally or continental as Africans, the impact is felt in a way. And that's why we continue to do what we do.
So is there going to be an international collaboration with other people in the near future?
Definitely. We're definitely working on that. That's actually what's exciting me about 2019.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of...
Yeah.
We can't do that. You just have to wait for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a lot of great things
we
coming.
were talking about it the other day. I mean, like the last 2 years, how many African celebrities and musicians have we worked with?
Yeah.
Like we've had Bonang, we've worked with Mr. Easy.
Yeah. That was amazing. Mr. Easy's team is
Top
notch. Like
Okay.
these guys know exactly what entertainment industry is about. So we learned so much from them.
Is there any country that you guys see as benchmark that, okay, this is where we would like to push the Zambian market to, or you just making it up as you go?
And I like that you asked that because me and her have always been big believers in organic growth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bite on more than you can chew. We really trust the process. And I think that's what's so beautiful and so encouraging, challenging at the same time. But it keeps you going because you actually recognize, say, you know what, I will take the steps.
Yeah. Like you're not in a rush.
Yeah, you're not in a rush.
You're not in a rush.
So right now, like we've worked with a lot of South African celebrities and artists.
Like
we are trying to push.
We've had Boiti in Zambia.
We've had Bonang.
We've had
Nasty C.
We've worked with Ricky Rick,
and
Dimples,
DJ Dimples,
on the Jemison account, and all of that is great. It's great. It's fantastic. Like it exposes you to the larger scale of entertainment industry and what it means to be in PR and events. And like what Monde is saying, you baby steps. We're clocking 3 years as of May 2019. So we still have to hold back and say we don't want to jump the gun and get into deep waters when we're not sure.
It's like a good balance between not getting stale or lukewarm, and not getting too hot to get burnt.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
So you have to be, again, I always say this, be strategic and be intentional.
Yeah.
If you get these two things right, you're okay. Yeah. Like throw on hard work and consistency on that, and you're good.
Yeah.
So you guys have a 5-year roadmap, or?
Definitely 5 and 10.
5 and 10.
5, 10, 15, 20.
So when would you say now we've accomplished everything? Like, what's the end goal?
You know,
There's no end goal. What is that?
The scary thing
What is that? What's an end goal?
That's the scary thing. It never ends.
Okay.
Because what you thought you would accomplish in 5 years, like you get to your second year and you're like, we're where we said would be in 5 years. You're not gonna quit. So you just have to put out like more milestones, and some things you don't quite achieve because you've grown and you've evolved in the process. And your interests, even as an organization, will change according to the climate that you're in.
Yeah.
I mean, the Zambia that we have now isn't going to be the Zambia that we have in 5-10 years. So we're going to have to adapt accordingly. And that's the fun of it.
Do you already see like a change from where you started 3 years ago to what the Zambian society is like now?
Definitely.
Yeah.
When we first started, social media management was the thing.
Right.
Everybody wanted somebody to manage their social media. Now, everybody wants to hire somebody that's going to bring them closer to the public. So you have the corporate, you have the organization. They don't exactly spend a lot of time being social to the public. So they bring in PR girl and say, look, PR girl, you're a social brand. So you invite the people to us and then we network, which is pretty much what we've branded ourselves as now, as social entrepreneurs and a company that uses PR events to bridge or merge the relationship between corporates and the people. Because essentially the people make the brand. Everybody needs the consumers, but they don't particularly have the time to socialize. So every now and so often when they do and want, then we bring the people and we merge, we bring the relationship closer.
Would you guys say that you have some competition in the market, or is what you bring entirely unique?
Oh, there's competition. They're watching, they know. Of course, competition is amazing. I love competition. I love waking up in the morning and saying, who am I squashing today?
Yeah. But you know what?
I'm so competitive.
If you critically look at the PR Go brand, we honestly don't have any, I'll use the word legit competition.
Okay.
That's my honest opinion. However, you still have a lot of big players in the industry that we operate in, and we have to be very aware of that in order for us not to get swallowed in and constantly remain relevant. So I don't think we have major competition. I think we have major players playing in the same playground as we are. And we must constantly stay aware of that, lest we get, booted out or just become relevant or stale.
But you know what the thing is? Like following on to what Monde said, you never have competition if your brand is authentic. The very fact that even in the beginning we've told you that.
That is so profound. Say that again.
You never have. I like it when you say that.
Yes, that is so true.
You never have competition when you're authentic. Yeah. This is not something that we've cooked up and isn't organic. It was literally me taking my interest and my skill set and her taking her interest and her skill set and saying, let's make a business out of it. It becomes less authentic if she says she doesn't want to do this anymore or I don't want to do this anymore. Then you don't have the complete package. But for as long as me and her and our synergies and our interests and our talent and skills are in this, we have less and less competition. There's always going to be people that want to do what we're doing. And technically they'll be considered our competition, but they're never going to be Chichi and Monde. And I think that's the package that we rely on a lot. And even with that's the unique factor. So even when we do find a client, we are very unapologetic about the fact that this is who we are. This is what we like. We'll cater to your business. But if it gets to a point where you aren't comfortable with our package, then we can't work together.
Right.
And that's just how it is. And I think that authenticity is what leaves us in a position of no competition. I mean, there's always, like I said, there's always competition. I know they're watching. I know. and honestly, like, I'll
I need the viewers. So
like, no, but like, listen, your viewers are our competition. They're watching. And look, it's cool. I love it. For me, I'm a very competitive entrepreneur. Like, that's just, I don't want to be cooked up in this world where I think I'm the best. I'm always going to look at somebody else who's who may be doing better than we are and think they can't be better than us. And that's what drives me as an entrepreneur. It's different for her. You know,
I'm very sure.
She reads Oprah, so she's very centered.
No, that's just the difference. You know, we always get asked, it's like, oh, what's the difference between you guys? Other people don't see it. They just take us as one package, but we really are. And I think that's what the good thing is, because we like bounce off each other's energies. Like she's saying, she's very competitive. She's very petty, sorry to say that. But she is. Yeah, she's like ridiculous. But then I kind of feel like I'm a bit more sure and I'm a bit more grounded and I'm a bit less dramatic about life. Like I'm a planner.
Centered.
I'm very centered. I know what I want. And if I say, if I feel that something is right, then it's right. I won't go back and forth with something. It's either it's there or it isn't.
But you see, she's very logical. She's got a business background. This is why she's perfect with running business side and like sending quotations. And this is why I'm good at marketing and communication, because you have to be very aware that whatever you do, like you start setting
of your environment, actually. Of your environment. I like that, because you always make me aware of
you have to be aware of your environment.
I tend to just switch
you know,
off
and
be like, can I
exactly. And that's what business people do, because they put a plan together, and that plan is regardless of the environment. This is our numbers. This is what we're doing. These are our statistics. And I'm the one that says, look, our competition has done A, B, C. So we need to take it all the way to Z. And it works. It works. And that's what makes the team. And I wouldn't say we don't have competition, because I bet someone's going to watch this and think they said they don't have competition, so let me give them competition. You'll come at us. Yeah, so you're always going to have competition.
Nice.
The rule is make sure that you squash them.
So you are watching your competition
Of
as well?
course, always.
But then, okay, adding on to the authenticity that you just mentioned, you've both traveled a lot internationally on the continent. What would you say makes Zambia unique?
The people.
The people.
The warmth of the people.
The warmth of the people. The personalities of the people.
Naivety of intention.
Like people do stuff
Zambians!
I love my
intention.
people.
I always say that naivety of intention.
Could you give an example?
You know what? And you know what? I can say that so clearly, because I believe I was once that person.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? When you say like naivety of intention, it's not even your fault. It's just because you look at the world like it's your apple and you must just eat it and it will nourish your body. No. The world is here to eat you up. You know what I mean? You know when she talks about squashing it, I think that's the whole essence of life. Life is about squashing it, because it's constantly throwing challenges at you, you know, based on, I'll use stakeholders, right? People, businesses, the environment, the weather, everything is coming at you in life. So if you come at it as, no, you know, it's meant to be, it's okay. No, we'll be okay one day. You're a loser.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a loser.
Yeah. Like it's always, it's the thing I love about our people is they're so chilled. Like, trust me, I know, like I have Brazilian friends and everybody says Brazilians are the most chilled out. I think Zambians are the most chilled out people. There's no pressure. Like there could be somebody trying to start up a war and they'll just be like, dude, chill.
I mean, we have the phrase suffering peacefully, right?
Exactly.
So
exactly that.
It's amazing. I think there's nobody else out there in the world that thinks like a Zambian, acts like a Zambian, celebrates like a Zambian. And I think that's the unique factor.
Yeah, that's definitely it. Beautiful country, beautiful people.
Yeah.
Nothing like this place.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it. And even the bad stuff, like event space and dealing with people, events puts you in that position where you have to deal with people interpersonally, and you think you're gonna hate people, you end up just loving people more, because even when they're acting stupid and they're doing retarded stuff, you go home and you laugh about it, because you're just like, who does
even
that?
On sites.
Like the people you work with, the people who come through to your events, the people that talk about your events, whether it's good or bad, it's just so crazy that you realize how beautiful a culture we are. And once you embrace it, you're just like, We've got so many requests to do the events that we do in other markets, Namibia, Botswana, South Africa. But one thing that we won't have, even if we take it outside the border, is the Zambian people.
Did we say that?
Put them on the
Same time?
bus. Yeah, exactly. So you just put them on the bus maybe and take them with you.
Oh,
Yeah, perhaps.
I guess.
So, okay, we have the chilled out culture in Zambia, but there's also the copycat culture. How do you deal with that?
You know what I think?
I don't. So you
Go ahead.
You squash them.
Okay.
Listen, let me tell you how it is.
I was going to be so logical with that, but sure, go ahead.
I will tell you because I'll be practical. She's going to give you the PC, the politically correct. The thing is, one thing that my sister and I, my colleague and I, have always held strongly is if you put out an idea, put it out 100 steps ahead. Because the person that's going to copy you, where do they start? You're already 100 steps ahead. I think we have to. It's not even a complaint factor. It's the way that the environment is set. You start selling tomatoes, your neighbor starts selling tomatoes. So what do? You have to get those tomatoes from, I don't know, China that are like mega, like huge. Because where's your neighbor going to get them? She doesn't know who your source is. So you always have to outsmart because it's a reality. It's a copycat environment. It's a hustler environment. People are hungry. People are looking to make money and you can't fault them at it. So whatever you put out, make sure you put it out. Business-wise, you have to be 100 steps ahead. So technically, even if the next person copies your idea, you've got mega tomatoes, they're going to come up with like little cherry tomatoes. So you're already like, you've got that advantage. You're ahead. And that's always been our principle. But it's nothing that we complain about. We are aware of it. And every single time, unless we're ready to go big, we don't launch anything. And I'm safe to say out of the 3 events that we have, I mean the fourth event, we pretty much took somebody out that served cherry tomatoes and we gave bigger. So
let me guess, Oktoberfest.
Yes.
You didn't have to confirm that. We could have just kind of left it in the air. Yeah, I mean, it's
I heard about it all the way from Holland. So
oh,
don't worry.
Great. Great. No, we're doing good. You heard yeah. No, but that's how it is, and it's business.
Yeah, and then again, it's always a matter of perspective because in as much as she says that, and I agree 100%, like she said, that's how it goes. I don't think it's a Zambian problem.
No,
I think it's a global problem.
No.
I don't even think it's a problem, in fact.
No, it's
because
reality.
If Samsung, right, releases a touch phone,
Right.
Apple is like, damn, we need to get onto that strategy. You know, what can we do to make it just slightly different and within our brand so that our target market can understand it? So I don't think it's a Zambian problem. I don't think copycat it's not.
It's not.
It's
just
a global
business.
It's just a way of business.
Yeah, the supermarkets do it.
Yeah.
The TV channels do it.
Everybody.
You know, one TV channel gets a
trends.
reality show, the next gets a reality show, and that's how it is. And I think it's survival. It's what it is. And I think if you're an entrepreneur, you're watching this, don't be dumb or stupid enough to put out something that can be copied in a minute.
Yeah.
Put out something that can be copied in 10 years. Because if your competition is trying to copy you, it will take them 10 years to get to where you are. And in 10 years, you would have already had monopoly. That's the whole idea. So whatever it is that you're putting out, make sure that you've got the years because it's unrealistic to think that somebody will not copy you.
Yeah.
It's business. But make sure that when you put it out, you buy yourself the time to have monopoly. Because if you've been in the game 10 years and somebody comes up with a product that's exactly like yours, you have the advantage of being in the business and being first mind on the consumers.
Okay. What would you say is your biggest obstacle in your business?
That's a tough question.
Well, not really. I think it's always financing.
Financing.
Because you can have the grandest of ideas, but we often find that we have to stream down, our ideas to 2 things: financial constraints, budgets, as well as the consumer, the market,
numbers.
And the numbers. So that's always a source of frustration. But we usually try to nonetheless push the envelope, invest a little more, chew in our profit, just so that, like she was saying, we can be steps ahead and stay ahead, because it's very difficult to spend money. And in the events business, events are expensive generally. So you find a lot of people on the market,
and the risk is huge.
And the risk is huge because you need the numbers, for like sponsors to come in, for you to make your investment back, for example, even just breaking even. So, I would say it's these two things. It's financial input and, the consumer, making sure that, your product is tailor-fit to the consumer, but at the same time attractive to the global audience, because that is us. We never want our target market to just be the Zambian public,
right?
Because I truly believe there's only so many people in Zambia that will buy our product. We are not a mass market product. We are middle class. So we're focusing on a niche. And for as long as we focus on the Zambian market, we will never make enough money for us to say, as a business, we're lucrative and we're making enough money for the business to sustain itself. So we're constantly trying to reach that balance and that, meet that gap. And it's such a challenge.
What about the creative process? Because like we mentioned, you take 2-3 months to set up an event. Do you have a team that you sit with to set it all up? I mean, everything looks like it's just thought out meticulously, and I assume it takes a while. So maybe you could tell us a bit more about that.
It does take a while.
And the reason I said that one,
and the reason I said it's a challenging question because to be an entrepreneur in the circumstances that we are operating in, and I say that because it's the economy, as in the spending power of the consumer. It's the fact that we're SME, but we're trying to do international standard level work and present a package worth paying for, because we're still in a market where people will literally hustle you out of a 10 kwacha. No, I'm not going to pay this because this doesn't look like this. So you have to prove your point if you're going to charge people. And I say it's challenging because you fight so much that you forget that you're dealing with challenges. You know what I mean? Because you condition yourself to think, to see the positivity, to see the benefits, to see the profits, and not so much the losses, and not so much the negativity. So when people ask us, what are your challenges? It always pulls us back because we condition ourselves so much to not see the challenges because it's demoralizing. Like if I had to tell you the challenges right now.
The word is internal dialogue.
Yes.
You have to manage your internal dialogue. I think that's what she's
exactly
trying to focus on.
Yeah.
But coming back to your question of what is the creative process?
Yeah. So I was going to get to that. The creative process behind it, your mind has to be in the right space because you have to make sure that you don't set up a brand that is defensive. Because it's very easy in a market that's difficult to set up a brand that caters for mistakes, negativity, because you sit down and you're like, we need to give people what they're attacking, right? So the creative process has to be very natural. We spend a lot of time being in a positive environment. We spend a lot less time with industry people. We have friends that are not in the industry because of that, because their mind is out of it, because their mind is in the consumer's perspective. And the creative process can be very tough when you're also, I always say this, the best creative businesses are the ones where the creatives are allowed to be just creative and the business people are being business people. But because we're SME, we have to be the business people and we also have to be the creatives. So those things can easily clash. So we need to know to be in the right space to be creatives and also be in the right space to be business minds. So a lot of the time we get that question, how do you come up with your ideas? How do you do this?
On the couch.
On the couch.
Really?
Like, yeah, on
Watching
the couch.
Netflix?
Yeah, with our friends, like drinking wine and chilling. Because then we're like the most authentic, just us. Just me being Chichi and Monde being Monde. And anywhere out of that, we can never be creative because we're forced to be realistic, business women, harsh, and confront the challenges of business. And it's very difficult to be creative and business women at the same time. And that's probably one of the most challenging things about our job.
What about, you mentioned that people in Zambia are rather chilled. Is that also maybe a challenge if you're trying to set up something and the people you're working with have that chilled out nature?
Yeah, but she cracks the whip, so I'm probably
I
shoot
shoot
out
and
people.
scream and maybe curse every now and then. But
So you're the strict one.
you know what? You have to be when you're dealing with suppliers and vendors. So you kind of just have to, push them a little more than the usual. But yeah, now they know. We've been doing this for about 3 years now. So whenever a supplier comes onto the job, I bet the other suppliers like, listen, these girls, you have to
Be on point.
It gets easier in terms of vendor relations and suppliers because, you're more
attentive.
Like,
you know how people work. They know how you work.
Yeah.
So you build up a reputation.
Yes. You build up relationships and a synergy. There's certain people that if you're working with for the first time, it's even scary because you don't know exactly how they'll take your approach to their work. I mean, if it's ugly, it's ugly. Say it's ugly. And then they'll be offended about it. But the truth is you already have a reputation working with people that can take your critique, your criticism and just know that it's not personal. It's just about the job.
Yeah. Business.
Exactly.
Okay, nice one. What about whenever you're interacting with normal people? How has that changed? I mean, you've built up your reputation now. Do you think also that people are viewing you in a different light, or are they still treating you as Chichi and Monde?
No.
You know what? I don't like to think about that.
Yeah.
Because to me, I think my family and my friends have always kind of been in my life and it's no different. And in fact, I like to be with people that I've known longer than this PR girl thing. And I'll call it a PR girl thing.
I mean, look, the truth is one camera, and we're going to be honest. My sister and I have lost a lot of short-term friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
The people that are in our lives have been in our lives for a long time.
Yeah.
Because the people that have known us for the last 5-6 years just can't handle it. They are so obsessed with who we are publicly that they get wrapped into anything. That's crazy. I was talking to a friend a couple of weeks ago and I was saying, I can't believe that maybe it's taken us this long to actually figure out that we've become clickbait. Because, there's times when my friends and I are at home and we're just talking and I'll go onto Twitter and say something. And I expect people to just respect my opinion in my personal space.
Right.
I'm just putting out my opinion. But it's not my opinion anymore. It's public opinion. Because I'm a public figure. And even our friends have had to be what? So you mean that tweet made news? And you deal with it and it's it slowly comes on. But the truth is you become clickbait because even people that you meet will overplay or put lies out because they want to get public attention.
Right.
Because if they say they went to an event and Monde was rude to them, everybody retweets it. Oh my goodness, Monde of PR Girl was rude to this person.
Right.
So it takes a while for you to realize okay, so now I have to literally watch what I say to people that don't know me personally and know how to handle that, which is very new for us because we're small town girls. And if you know anything about small town girls, we talk to everybody.
Right.
And we're loud and we have conversations with everyone and don't have to watch your back. So it's new, it's very new, but I'll be very, very honest. We've lost a lot of friends in the last couple of years because they buy into what people say about us that may not be true, or they just overplay the fact that we're busy and they say, oh, you've become snobbish, you don't want to spend time with us, you don't want to do this. Whatever it is, I think it's just evolving into an entrepreneur that's in a job that's public, which is something that we can't really control. But at the same time, we value friends that we've known for a long time that understand the people that we are aside from the business.
So you're keeping the circle small.
Yeah, definitely.
Makes
We
sense.
always call it running a tight ship.
Yeah.
So soon you guys will need a PR just to handle your Twitter.
It's
PR
so
girl.
No, I'm good. She's the problem.
Okay.
No, I think people have yeah, no, I'm a problem.
And believe it or not, like half the time she gets into trouble, it's not even her tweets. Like our friends saying, tweet this
Oh,
just to test the market. And then before we know it, it's an explosion and they're like,
It's the
But you know what? I wouldn't change it for anything because I would hate to have my job dictate who I am. And I think it's going to get to a point, and I think it's gotten to a point where people understand that that's my personality. That if you diss my hair, I'm going to say your hair is terrible too. I should be allowed to say that at least, right?
Sure, you can defend yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
She would call that petty, but I'm on your side.
Thank you.
Yeah, like,
Thank
I'm
you.
just, yeah.
Thank you.
It's okay. I'm very nonchalant. I'm just very nonchalant about people. I generally don't like
Who
people.
doesn't diss back someone that disses their hair?
Because you're like, you have problems. I'll keep it moving.
Like what? Okay. Bat your eyelids. Be perfect. It's over. We'll clap back.
Nice. Okay.
Two sides of a coin, right?
Right.
Heads and tails.
Yeah, exactly. So, when is your next big event?
Champagne picnic.
4th May.
So 4th of May,
2018.
champagne picnic. And then
Mulungushi
13th
Conference Center
yeah.
Gardens.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite something.
Theme is all white.
All
Theme
white?
is all
Okay.
white. We've re-strategized slightly. Last year we made it incredibly VIP. This year we're opening it up a little more with a 150 kwacha ticket for general and a 500 kwacha VIP inclusive of a meal. So we've made it a bit more musical, made it a bit more foodie. We're gonna have sushi. We'll have a bakery. We'll have Lebanese, Chinese, pizza, and we're trying to do some really exciting stuff for people to kind of feel because it's a day event. And I know Zambians like struggle. Guys, please don't come at 19 hours.
No, Zambia
Come
is
on
like
time.
nighttime
Come
events.
on time. Like,
But
it
we're
starts at 12.
stubborn about that.
Yeah.
Daytime, can I say this one? Daytime drinking is really fun.
Yeah, R18, do not serve
Daytime
alcohol to
starting
people
at
under
what?
the age of 18.
Midday.
Midday. 12
It's
12
5 o'clock somewhere in the world at midday in Zambia.
It's
Come
fun.
on.
And look, it's a picnic. You can't have a picnic in the dark. So
No.
True.
we're hoping people get the memo and actually come early.
So, where
Yes,
can I get
Sonia.
the tickets?
Going up. So we have a ticketing company. We have a ticketing partner. So they're going up. So that's
On
going.
Facebook, Instagram,
APP.
and Twitter.
Yeah. And you can follow them. You can find tickets
They're on
to
App
even
Store
other
and
events in
Marketplace.
Lusaka. We'll give a shout out to our competition. No, I'm joking. No, but it's an event app. They're doing amazing work. So what they do is they pretty much give access to people that are not even able to go in Zambia to buy. Because before you have to go to a location in Zambia to buy a ticket. But if you're traveling or you're out of a country and you're not able to purchase a ticket physically, you can do it online, which is brilliant.
Perfect. Keeping up with the technology.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
pretty much. Just supporting Going Up is also run by an SME, young entrepreneurs, Muzeka. He pretty much came on with us, like we've been doing, like the last 2 events we've had through him, and they're great. So we said, look, I think this is the way to go. We always get requests from people that travel Botswana, South Africa, Namibia, especially for champagne picnic on Lusaka July. And it became a little bit uncomfortable to say, okay, we'll hold on to your ticket. So we had to get innovative and say, look, you can purchase your ticket online and come to the event that way.
Nice.
So it's working for us and it's brilliant.
What I'd like to close with is the fact that I also like that you guys, despite the fact that you have an international view, still support the locals. You know, you've worked with Eleftherios Mukuka, you've worked with Cleo Ice Queen. So, you know, you're keeping it local and thinking global. So that's
Definitely.
Global.
Look, there's always this thing. There's this rule in international business. You have to make it at home in order to expand. That's usually the business cycle. It doesn't work like that in every term, but majority, right? And we truly believe in our entertainment industry. Our musicians are highly talented. Our celebrities are, attractive and fun, and all these things.
And professional.
This is unprofessional, and this is why you find that at every PRGO event, we rarely, if ever, if there's no client interference, you will never find, an international act musically or whatever talent it may be performing on our stage. We always go local.
Yeah.
When we go international, it's celebrity guests, like special guests,
right.
For the PR angle and all that. We believe in our entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do.
Definitely.
Ladies, thanks so much for coming to Business Indaba.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Are we going to do this again?
Yeah, next time I'm in.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chichi.
And I'm Monde. And we're from PR Media. Please subscribe to Business Indaba. Do it. Click. Do
right
it.
now.